Welcome to the Women in Industry podcast. My name is Kirsty Davies-Chinnock, and today I'm joined by Shalom Lloyd. Shalom is an award-winning entrepreneur. She's a lover of the role of nature and science in our lives. She's a role model, female leader, speaker, and pharmaceutical professional. She's the founder of Naturally Tribal, and they are a proud British skincare brand born from personal experience with purpose and impact in their DNA. Their business goes beyond the Naturally Tribal range of skincare products and now gives the chance to make a real difference, improving the lives of women in Africa who make the high-grade shea used in their products. Welcome, Shalom. It's lovely to meet you.
Thank you, Kirsty. Thank you for having me.
I have been absolutely fascinated by all your roles. I love a woman with multiple roles. I think it gives us so much we can bring to the day job by learning skills elsewhere. As well as Naturally Tribal, you are the co-founder and chief strategy officer for EMQT. You're a director of Jean Edwards Oils in Nigeria. You're a non-executive director of Milton Keynes Chamber of Commerce, and you're a goodwill ambassador for the High Sheriff of Buckinghamshire. So is there anything you don't do?
I've got a few hats missing from that list, actually.
Oh, gosh.
As you were talking, I was like, okay, yep, counting down. Or counting up, I should say.
But it's always good, isn't it, to have your main role and then the other roles. It expands your network, it gives you more skills, and you can make a difference by helping others. And I love that the story of your business came from personal experience when you had your twins. And what makes your product different to standard remedies?
Sure. I mean, just to kind of go back to what you said about the multiple hats, I think it's important to say that every hat or mini hat that I wear, somehow the dots do connect. I will not be involved in anything that does not feed me as a person, feed my business, or feed the community that I work in. So everything is really interlinked for me. So when people say, oh, you're doing so much, I think if you enjoy something, it ceases to be a chore. But also, if you can connect the dots and things flow and link into one another, you see it as one commitment. So I just wanted to kind of put that out
No,
there.
completely. I agree with you completely. It's when you take on a role and it becomes a chore and it's
Correct.
not feeding into anything else. And it's
Correct.
very easy, I think, particularly for women, to just go, yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll do that. And you
Exactly.
sort of get 6 weeks or 6 months into it and you go, this isn't actually working for me. And it's
Absolutely.
having to have the courage to say no.
No, that's fair enough. And going back to the question you just asked about what makes Naturally Tribal skincare stand out from the rest or different from the rest. The skincare or beauty industry, I should say, is so saturated. I never thought I'd find myself in this industry. To be honest, there was never any attraction to it for me because I'm a scientist and my science is in clinical drug development and pharmacy is always what I've known. And how the company came about made me kind of come into this amazing industry. That's the beauty industry. It is very saturated. And I realized very quickly that you have to have something different, something unique, and something that makes you stand out to even remotely succeed in this industry. There is no other UK-based brand out there that can say to you that you can pick up a jar of their products and be able to trace the main ingredient back to source. I'm a self-certified control freak. So being actually wanting to create infrastructure in Africa to source my ingredients, traceability, transparency, authenticity is something that customers are looking for. The company was founded because of my son's eczema, a Eureka formulation I stumbled across while mixing and going a little bit crazy. So again, there are not many brands out there who can say to you that they're built on three strong pillars. First of all, efficacy. Products that work for people with skin conditions, eczema, psoriasis, dermatitis, keratosis pilaris, people who are going through chemotherapy or radiotherapy, any treatment that impacts the skin. people who are looking for the beauty element in products like this, using ingredients, geranium, wrinkle reducing, and things like that. The second pillar that we're built on is what I call planet hugging. Everything about my brand hugs the planet, from the ingredients that we use to the packaging to how we do business, hugs our planet. The third pillar is ethical sourcing and female empowerment. Rarely would you find, I would challenge you actually and say, find me a brand in the UK that does all these things that are built on these three strong pillars. So it's not just about the products that we have out there that actually work for our customers. It's also about intergenerational approach, where whether it's young ones, middle-aged or older people, our products are for everyone. Whether you're male, female, we know no race, no gender, no sexual orientation, no disability. It's a truly inclusive brand, a representation of the family that I come from. So for me, this brand is so unique. It's so different. And it represents me, the quirkiness that is me, really, and just puts everything out there. But it's all about doing good. We hear about sustainability being dropped out there. It's every other word here you now hear is equality, diversity, inclusion, sustainability. My brand was born sustainable. It was born inclusive. So it wasn't as though we thought, "Ooh, this is nice. Let's do this." Oh, everybody's talking about menopausal treatment. Let's do that. Our products were genuinely put together for people who appreciate the power of nature. The skin is the largest organ in our body, absorbs over 60% of what you put on it. Our approach is what you put on your skin is as important as what you eat. So our products are proudly made in the UK and truly for everyone, and respecting our African heritage. That's a long-winded way of answering your question, isn't it?
No, carry on. I'm just sitting here listening, fascinated. You made me think of something actually. So I was born in the very early 70s, and
Me too.
as a child, my grandmother had breast cancer, and went through radiotherapy. So that was probably late 70s, early 80s, and she was of the generation, you didn't say the word cancer. It was sort of like, it was sort of mouthed. You never said it out loud. So we knew she was having treatment, and she never ever said once she had cancer. And then I overheard my mother talking, and from the radiotherapy treatment, her skin had gone all like a wood. It had burnt the skin. It had gone really sort of like black and cracked. And they were really struggling to get a cream that would soothe it. And they did get one. I dread to think of the chemicals in it, but they did get one. And she used to get through a tub a week of this. So you,
It is, I mean, it is skin toxicity is a common side effect of radiation, of chemotherapy. I think it's about 70 to 100% of patients go through this. So the impact of cancer treatments on our skin is something that is not spoken about a lot. The skin gets really delicate, and because the turnover of the skin cells is now slowed down, which means a lot of excess dry skin. So you've got dryness, you've got peeling, you've got itchy skin, you've got redness, you've got blistering. The skin becomes sensitive to sunlight and heat with the higher risk of sunburn. The skin, the natural oils of the body and the gland that the glands secrete reduces. Lighter skin will become darker, and radiation can make the skin look like it's been sunburned and become swollen and puffy, and get sores that can get infected. On top of all that, there's a higher risk of developing skin cancer on top of everything that these people are going through. So you don't necessarily want to use things that would actually make that worse. So we're here for it.
and obviously you're a scientist. You've got a variety of degrees. Your MSc pharmaceutical, an MBA. How did your professional scientific background impact on the development of Naturally Tribal? Did it give you a benefit?
It's interesting when you say that you're a pharmacist and you've got these qualifications and you worked in drug development, it gives a certain credibility to our brand. But the truth is, Kirsty, that I was just a mother desperate to find a solution for her son's eczema. I went through 4 cycles of IVF before I had these twins. So, oh my goodness, any woman out there who's gone through IVF, I mean, respect to you. 4 cycles, eventually gave birth to these children, and one of them was covered in eczema. And the last thing I wanted to do with that guilt feeling was put more chemicals on this child. Now, I believe in the power of chemicals. I believe in the power of medicines. They save lives. However, for this newborn, it became personal. This was me as a mom saying, I've pumped myself with these chemicals through these IVF cycles for the past 4 cycles, or what have I done to this child? So I looked to the power of nature. You can actually say that I suppose the science experience or my qualification came into play when I was looking for what would work, which ingredients would reduce the inflammation, reduce the redness, reduce the itching. So things with anti-inflammatory properties, packed with antioxidants, so in that respect, yes, of course. And oh my goodness, you should have seen my kitchen and my dining room full of paper everywhere because it was just trying and testing everything that I could, reducing the quantities, etc. Before I stumbled across what was the right thing that helped him. Within 3 days, his skin started to become what it should have been from birth. So yes, the scientist side came in there. But I said to people, I was just a desperate mother looking for a solution. I bought everything. I tried every lotion and potion out there and it wasn't working.
And as you've developed your products,
Mhm.
and you mentioned again that you've got incredible quality control and traceability back to the source, and you're working to empower women, particularly in Africa, where you get a lot of your ingredients from. Is that why you set up, or why you're a director of Jean Edwards Oil in Nigeria? Is that part of it?
It sort of is. So when I was looking for a sustainable source for my main ingredient, which is shea butter, which is an ingredient that I absolutely love, that's a little bit underrated, but I think people need to educate themselves more about what is shea butter, what is refined and unrefined. I went to, this is me tapping into my dual heritage. I'm proudly British Nigerian, and I absolutely love my dual heritage because I live in best of both worlds for me. I realized Nigeria is one of those countries that produces or has the most shea trees on this planet. So there was an opportunity there. So I traveled back to actually just find a source, a farmer, whoever, where I could buy from. Came across this amazing place called the Kingdom of Esan, women who'd been making shea butter for generations. And my whole business idea took a different turn. Came back to the UK, remortgaged my home to release some equity, found a few colleagues who were willing to come in with me and invest as well. Got 16 acres of land in the Kingdom of Esan and built our shea processing facility that makes a small sort of artisan type facility, really, employing rural women, producing shea butter. It is not aid, it's trade. Because when I say this, people think, oh, you're doing amazing things, helping. No, it's a bit like here. You find a job, you find people to do it, and you pay them fairly for it. So it's not aid, it's purely trade. Um, Naturally Tribal, the company is called Naturally Tribal Nigeria. Naturally Tribal in Nigeria, in the Kingdom of Assam, produces shea butter, 20 metric tons capability of every month. Um, this was our introduction into the shea industry. And this gave birth almost to JE oils because we realized we're going to go scale this up. We needed a bigger organization that would be almost a monster that would create this. So teamed up with a few people as well, and we started JE oils. And the capacity is 400 metric tons of shea butter every month.
Wow.
Again, a giant that employs probably 80 to 100 people at the site. So I'm one of the directors there as well. So it's almost like Naturally Tribal Nigeria, this share facility that we had, this small thing, almost our experimental ground, gave birth to another bigger organization, both which function and exist today.
And obviously, so you're making your own shea butter, then you're importing it into the UK, and then you're making your products.
Yes.
Um, and you said in your wonderful introduction that your products are for everybody, no matter who, it's going to benefit their skin, because our skin is all the same. There will be variations, but the actual organ itself
Absolutely.
it's the same on every single human.
Absolutely.
Um, One of the things that I saw when I was doing my research on you, and we were talking about the beneficial properties for those going through cancer treatment, is that you're working with an organisation in Milton Keynes called the Lewis Foundation for adults with cancer. And you're incredibly active in Milton Keynes. You're obviously giving back a lot to your community. How did you get involved with the Lewis Foundation? Did they get in touch with you? Did you get in touch with them?
It was, I guess it was this amazing woman called Lorraine Lewis, who's the founder, co-founder of the Lewis Foundation. They're an award-winning charity. What they do is they source, they package and hand deliver gifts and support packs to adult cancer patients in hospital every week, just to kind of help them to ease the burden a little bit. With my pharmaceutical background and naturally tribal skincare, our brand also being known as products that actually support and help cancer patients. A mutual friend introduced us, but and said, "You two have to meet because there's something here." And we met, and out of that meeting came an initiative called Smile. Smile is just something very, very simple. Actually, SMILE stands for simple, mindful, impactful, love-fueled, and elevating. And the aim is just to put a smile on the faces of cancer patients and their caregivers. So what Naturally Tribal Skincare and the Lewis Foundation are doing is addressing the gap, that engagement gap, and put a smile on patients, their families, caregivers, and friends, with a focus of reaching diverse populations. And when they're in the community, when they're in hospital is one thing, when they're in the community, to kind of battle that loneliness and give them that support. So we do two things. We run face-to-face workshops and events within the community, specifically for cancer patients, their families and carers. And it's all types of cancers and all genders, for adults only. And within this, we provide them with well-being kits to also help and support them. And part of that is our skincare product. We get funding from people like the MK Community Foundation. You talk about me giving back to my community. Milton Keynes is my city. I love this place. The city gives to me as much as I give it, to be honest.
I imagine that people going through the cancer journey, there's always going to be that sort of initial crash when you're told, even if you suspect it. And then you need to pick yourself back up, look at the treatments, and then go through the journey until hopefully you get given the all clear. And that's bad enough for those people who are going on that journey. But actually, some of the statistics I've seen that you've put out there, that makes us all incredibly lucky and privileged in the UK. One of the organisations that you're involved with, you're the co-founder and chief strategy officer for EMQT. And what you're doing there is trying to make sure that patients of African descent are represented in global clinical trials, because at the moment they're not. And I saw a stat that you put out that 95% of patients in Africa, and obviously it's going to vary from country to country,
Yes.
are diagnosed too late for treatment.
Correct.
95%.
Correct.
That is
a
staggering. Crime.
Kirsty, it is like, oh,
it's
a
crime against
humanity.
A crime.
It is a crime. 95% of cancer patients in Africa are diagnosed way too late. Early detection saves lives. We know that. And when you go to, I've worked in the drug development industry here in the UK and globally for the past 26 years, an industry that I absolutely adore. The pharma industry saves lives, period. However, like I mentioned before, when we talk about equality, diversity, inclusion, and we look at the stats and we look at although I think its patients of African descent make up 17% of the population on our planet, less than 3% of Black people globally actually are involved in clinical trials. That needs to change. But when you talk about it needs to change, people focus on Black people in the Western world. Again, tapping into my African heritage, that if you split me in half, I'll bleed GB and I'll bleed Nigeria, Great Britain and Nigeria. So for me, it was really looking at, well, where do you have most Black people on this planet? Africa. By 2050, Africa will represent more than a third of the world's population. We cannot ignore Africa. How can we sit here and say that patients are dying and being diagnosed too late and we're not doing anything about it? That was the reason why EMQT started. I lost my father to cancer. He lived in Nigeria. I believe that if he was here and got into a clinical trial, he'll probably be with me today. And it just, that realization, oh my God, what is going on? We need to work together to build centers of excellence in Nigeria, in Africa for clinical trials. We need to raise patient awareness. My colleague, Dr. Barton, and I were in Nigeria a couple of years ago, just post-COVID, I believe, in a town called Enugu. And we screened, with the support of the healthcare professionals, 450 women for cervical and breast cancer, 33 cervical lesions, 14 breast lumps, and one woman with stage 2 breast cancer. That one woman was worth the entire trip and drive and craziness that came with that journey. We cannot sit, it's a collective approach. It's something that we genuinely have to do together. So, like I mentioned before, my entire world just makes sense to me. They collide. Yes, I have a skincare brand. It's great for people. It's all solutions driven. Skincare brand great for people with skin conditions who want to battle it naturally, and great for people who are undergoing cancer treatment, which links into my pharmaceutical work, clinical research, clinical trials. And then tapping into my African heritage when you realize that, oh my goodness, we need to work harder to include African patients in clinical trials. Why aren't we doing that? It's just fear of the unknown. Does Africa have the infrastructure? Do they have the doctors? Well, they do. Let's go out there and upskill them and train them so that they can be on par with their counterparts and colleagues in the Western world. It's our responsibility, globally, all of us.
Completely. And I think, I mean, all my adult life, we operate in silos, don't we? So you've got the Western world, which isn't a geographical thing because it includes, you know, America and Australia and New Zealand as well, I suppose. And then you've got Africa, and then you've got sort of, you know, the Far East, China and Japan and Taiwan. And then you've got sort of Russia and as well. And we, I don't know how we fix it. Humans are involved, but
It's baby steps.
we've got to take those baby
We've got to
steps.
take the baby steps. I think, and also when I talk about Africa, I always say to people, it's not about aid. It's not about aid. Africa also has to help itself. But we have to work collectively for the greater good, as it were. There's so much that we talk about so much. For me, I'm the kind of person, I think it, I say it, I do it. We spend so much time talking about the right things to do and we should do, and so little time actually rolling our sleeves up and do it. It's the baby steps. I always say my favorite quote is start by doing what is necessary and then do what is possible. And before you know it, you've conquered the impossible. It's those baby steps. And if we fail, we get up and try again and try something else.
That's it. You've got to, failure is the best lesson.
Failure is an option. I always say to people, failure is an option. Failure are those steps that you climb keep towards success. As somebody that went to an event, a wonderful lady called Gilu from Cranfield University, she said something that stayed with me. In one of these events, I went to Milton Keynes ethnic business community. She said, if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. As long as we're moving forward, that's all that counts.
Yeah, I love that quote, actually. That is fantastic. It's it reminds me of the one sort of aim for the stars. You might hit the moon, and I've paraphrased that really badly, but it is one of those things. Aim for more, and don't settle. So you're talking about events that you attend there. I saw on LinkedIn that you went to the UK Black Business Show in Birmingham.
I did, I
And as a
did,
proud Brummie, you met some of my mates. You met Daniela Genus
I
and
did,
Denise Maxwell. Denise,
I
hi Denise.
did.
Hi Daniela. Denise is my photographer. She does all my
She is incredible.
she's
These women
brilliant.
are
Such
powerhouses.
a talented.
These women inspire, they motivate. It's when you meet women like that and you think, actually, wow, I'm doing the right thing because I'm sort of, there, admiring them, seeing what they're doing, the difference they're making in their different sectors, and you think, yes, yes.
And was it the women that you saw there, or was it just the whole show? What inspired you most about the event?
I was there talking about sustainability. It was a session that was sponsored by B Corp, which was amazing. Again, part of the panelists and listening to so many amazing businesses. But you see, for me, I'm always attending different events or speaking at different places. The Black Business Show, the impact that that had on me was you walk into a room where it hits you without you even knowing that everybody in there looks like you. That
Yeah,
is an incredible feeling I cannot describe. It's just, I always talk to people about everything I do represents my family. My husband is from Wolverhampton. He's white British. I'm a black African woman. Our children are mixed race and have every shade you're looking for, you'll find. But when I walked into the Black Business Show and looked around me, it's like all these incredible people that look like me that were doing amazing things. And that's the definition of representation matters.
yeah,
It really
completely.
does.
I don't know if you've seen it. You might already be involved in it. But Justice Williams and True Powell have launched a magazine, the Black Business Magazine.
Oh, no, I haven't seen it.
I'll the first issue came out last month.
Okay.
I'll send you a link to it.
Oh, please, that would be
And they've
great.
been supported with it by Rebecca Tate from Lloyd's Bank in Birmingham. And it's a great first issue. I'll introduce you to Justice as well because she's another amazing woman. See, look at this, all networking
Connecting the
via a
dots,
podcast.
linking. That's right.
um, I noticed as well that one of your ranges for children is licensed. It's a Paw Patrol range.
Oh my God, yes. I mean,
Being a mother of a nearly 28-year-old, I don't quite. I missed out on the Paw Patrol thing, but I've got friends who kids absolutely love it.
our Paw Patrol is a force. I think there is like 84% awareness and billions of YouTube views. I think it is a force. My twins are 9 years old now, but they were into their Paw Patrols, into their pops. We had this deal with Paramount, which was great because I was actually in awe because I thought, what a tiny company, what are they doing looking at us? But again, it's back to when you're doing the right thing, when your company is built on sustainability and ethical sourcing and all this great stuff that we're built on. Big companies do look at you and say, actually, here's a company doing the right thing. I would like to work and partner with them. So partnering with Paramount is a dream come true on Paw Patrol. And because my company started because of a newborn child, because of a child, it made sense. The products that we have, making bath time fun. You have incredible products, and you actually make it more palatable, more enjoyable for children to enjoy looking after their skin by
Yeah,
putting something on it that they love, they recognize. And Paw Patrol it's been a dream come true, really, working with the power that is Paramount and the Paw Patrol pops. Um, it's crazy. I turned 50 on Sunday, and you still find me singing Paw Patrol, Paw Patrol. I'm double. It's ridiculous. It brings out the child in you, but it's been amazing, and we've actually been nominated as a finalist in the sustainability category, actually, in the licensing awards, which I'm really, really proud of. To see your name alongside some really big, massive names, quite daunting.
Well, seeing your name alongside Paramount, I mean, they're just a little bit bigger, I imagine, just a tad.
Well, we bring something to the table. I kind of
Of
think
course you
we're
do.
small but mighty.
So you've got an absolutely wonderful brand. You're doing good in the world, and I can't help but admire how you blend your professional scientist background with the natural world. I think if we all could do that, we'd have a lot less environmental problems. And you sort of set your own business almost by accident. What advice would you give a young woman who wanted to set up her own business? What were the biggest lessons that you learned?
I think that the biggest lesson I learned is the why. That's a big one for me. The first thing I ask people when I'm mentoring is why? Well, why are you doing this? Why have you started the business? I think the why is very, very important. I started both my businesses because I saw a gap and it was solutions driven. They weren't really financially driven, if I'm being honest. They were solutions driven to make impact and make a difference. I think gone are the days of nice and shiny when people out there, consumers, whoever it is out there, scratch the surface of that nice and shiny. They want to see substance. They want to see that it means something. We all have information at our fingertips or can find out about anything. So people, like I said, consumers are savvier than ever before. Our young ones, we have access to so much information now. So if you're going to do something, ask yourself, make sure that your why is solid. And asking. I'm so bad at asking. I have an amazing network of people, but I'm still learning how to ask. Ask for help, ask for support, ask for introductions, ask for contacts, etc., etc. If you don't ask, you don't get.
Completely. And I think that's a generational thing as well. I think younger people are now more likely to ask for help. Um, we're sort of still trying to navigate the fact we were told we could have it all. You could work full time, have a family, have a hobby, keep fit at the gym, have date night every week, and do all of that. And well, that's 120 hours so far. Have a perfect home, always look immaculate, and you can't do all of that all the time.
No,
Um,
absolutely not. I think, it's really about when you enjoy what you do, like I say, ceases to be a chore. I'm quite greedy. I believe I can have it all. But the question is, what is all? What is
yes.
that all that you want, right? I want a great family. I've got that. Got a great, want to do good or just do the right thing. I've got two amazing businesses that's still growing. It's still small, but they're still growing and doing that. I want to impact lives. I want to be able to be flexible. It's summertime, my kids are on vacation. I'm talking to you from home, and the doorbell could ring any minute. Okay, great. That is life, I think we sweat the small stuff a bit too much. And it's only when something profound happens to us, we have either a death in the family or a life-changing situation that we think, oh, life's too short. I wish we could all sort of sit there and think, you know what? Genuinely living every day and taking it as it is, good, bad, and ugly, because things will always happen. Good things will always happen. Bad things will always happen. And things that you have no control over will always happen. So as long as we have that mindset of, come what may, again, if we can't fly, let's run. If we're not running, let's walk. If we're not walking, let's crawl, as long as we're moving forward. I think that's really important. You mentioned about this, generational thing. I think it's a female thing. Women, we don't ask. we're givers. We just want to do, give, and we find it very hard to ask. And like I say, I don't always practice what I preach. Sounds good me saying it to you right now, but do I practice it all the time, Kirsty? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's like me saying I learned to say no. I go no now, and then somebody will go, "Can you do this?" And I go, um, maybe.
Exactly. I mean, I read one of the things I realized very quickly that in the industries I work in, particularly in the beauty industry, um, if you have some sort of endorsement from somebody everybody knows, a celebrity, etc. So having a great business is not enough. In this day and age, it isn't enough. And I have a fantastic network of people, and every day I'm sitting thinking, how can I tap into, say, Kirsty? Because I know she knows this amazing person who, if people see her talking about my product, everything will sort of be amazing. We don't ask. I'm
Yeah.
afraid to ask. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, when I hit 50, I sort of looked at my life and I was like, I've been doing this for like 30 odd years. I've only got another 10, 15 years left. That's going to go really, really fast. I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want now.
oh God, it sounds honest. Like I said, I turned 50 last Sunday, July the 30th, and I'm exactly there.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
is that an
exactly like,
epiphany?
take me as I am, or
Yeah,
don't take me at all. It's
yeah.
okay.
And on that note, thank you so much. I definitely take you as you are. You are an absolute force of nature, and I wish you every success, Shalom. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much because it was amazing to meet you. Thank you for having me.